Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Do you feel stuck, silent, and stressed? Is something hurting your heart and soul? Are you burning yourself out? If so, you are in the right place because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. Last episode, I shared with you how I came to have this great insight. Basically, this knowing, this idea that if all is one, then I am one with all that is. If I am truly one with all that is, then I have access to all the abundance of the universe because I'm connected to everything that exists. So I have access to everything that exists. All the abundance that exists. So there's no question then of I need to have 10 years to acquire this or acquire that so that I can make my vision and dreams come true. What I really need is to learn how to use the connections that I have to access the resources that I need, to access the knowledge that I need. And when you begin to think from this perspective, it's just like a very different kind of question that you're asking, and it's just a very different kind of challenge or problem that you are dealing with. So what I noticed is that when I first had my vision of the university that I want to create, the vision, where I'm going to create this university and it's going to be this amazing place where we practice and manifest living by the ideals and the values of all is one. Everything's interconnected. Everything is interdependent. And we practice living in alignment with this idea, this value, this principle in every aspect of our lives. Which means we are going to create an institution, a space, a culture where everyone is being as environmentally friendly, as planet friendly, and people friendly as it's possible, as it's, as you can imagine being. And by the way, my heart and best self had given me a timeline of 3 years. Make this happen in 3 years. And this happened last year in 2014. So it was like, oh my gosh. So and when I got this 3-year timeline, initially I panicked. And I had this strong fear reaction where I was like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Are you sure? How can I do this? I don't know enough. I don't have enough. But then I have this insight, right? All is one. I'm one with all that is. I already have access to everything that I need. So what happened then, the fear, I still had the fear, but now the fear was no longer the most dominant experience. It was no longer the driving force. Because it was like, okay, I'm scared, But now it's like the fear, the scared, it was a good kind of scared. You know, like you can compare it to, for example, the kind of scared you might feel if you are going to be going on a really scary ride in the amusement park. Go to whatever your place may be. It's a haunted house ride maybe, or maybe it's one of those really scary roller coaster rides, or whatever. And there's a part of you that's like really scared. Like, you're not just making it up, you're not just saying that, you actually are scared. But another part of you is excited and looking forward to it, and you're actually walking yourself voluntarily to go there, because there's a part of you that knows that actually you're going to be perfectly safe, that everything will be taken care of, you'll be protected throughout that whole process. So even though you're feeling scared, it's like the fear is not what's driving your decision about whether you go on the ride or not. In fact, it's like, again, there's a sense of enjoyment even to experiencing that sense of fear and why you're doing this. And actually that was kind of like what I was feeling like. I was actually enjoying the sense of fear that I was experiencing. To be quite honest, one of the reasons why I was sort of like enjoying myself so much with this sense of fear was because, I had been on a real upswing since at least, I would say, early to mid 2012. So good almost 2 years it had been since I had felt afraid, actually, or felt even challenged in any significant way. It was like I just was at such an upswing, feeling so positive, feeling so confident and happy, and just, like so connected to my heart and my best self, that it wasn't that I wasn't having any challenges or any problems come up, but it was like, I was like, oh, that challenge, I'm bigger than that. I'm bigger than that challenge. I'm bigger than that problem. I can totally take that on. I can handle it. And it was just like moving right along, So it was like, yeah, there were little things going on, but nothing that really rose to this kind of level where I felt a significant challenge or a significant sense of fear or apprehension. And when I saw this vision and I was given this mission by my heart to like make it happen, make this university happen in 3 years, well, it was like, whoa! Now that's what I call a challenge. That really raised a fear response, really brought out those the old kind of insecurities around, I don't know if I have enough, I don't know if I know enough, kind of things. So actually, this gave me something to talk about. So it's like now whenever somebody would ask me, hey, what are you up to? What's going on? This is what I talked about. Hey, I have this vision and I've committed to it. but it's like really scary because it's like so big, it's so huge, and I don't know if I know enough, if I have enough. And, just like talking about it, and then the people who were listening to me, like responding, like in general, they would like respond to me with a lot of like, oh wow, this is a beautiful vision, this is a really big vision, oh, and yes, it is scary, oh yes, I can see like why you're feeling this way, and so I got a lot of sympathy and a lot of empathy and a lot of compassion. And of course, every so often I would come across somebody and they would actually have some even helpful suggestions for what I could do and how I could move forward. So I was really kind of like enjoying myself with this whole process and talking about like how I felt afraid and unsure about what would happen and how I would make this happen and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, so insofar as I was like enjoying myself with this, that was a good thing. But then I ran into a kind of a problem. And it was like I was enjoying myself with this so much that I developed something of a blind spot around like how all this talk about this is so big and I feel small and this is so challenging and I don't know what to do and I don't know how this is going to happen. I didn't realize how it was starting to impact me, in that I actually started to believe all of this, right? Because if you remember from so many episodes back when I was talking to you about that causal chain, right? About how our beliefs are, connected to our thoughts, are connected to our emotions, are connected to our behaviors. So it's like if I'm thinking all these thoughts about, even if it's initially from a perspective of, I'm just having fun with it, but over and over and over, I'm saying these words of, I feel scared, I feel overwhelmed, or I feel like this problem is so much bigger than I am, I don't know. It's like I'm thinking those thoughts, right? And so they begin to impact how I'm feeling, and they begin to impact what I'm believing, and then they begin to impact how I'm behaving, right? It doesn't happen in a day, it doesn't happen even in 2 days or 3 days, but when I keep talking in this way and I keep, indulging in these feelings, when they come up, you can be sure in a few days, in a few weeks, they're going to begin to have an impact. And so it was like before I realized what was going on, I'd actually begun to feel afraid and actually begun to feel a sense of doubt around, oh my God, like I don't know if I can actually do this. I do feel smaller than this problem. I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. And it's like, it's no longer a good scared. It's no longer a good sense of, like before when I thought about, I don't know how this is going to happen. Like, I don't know, like what, like, I don't know how this is going to happen. Because there's such a big mission, such a big vision. It was beyond definitely my immediate current capacities in many ways. So when you're in that kind of a situation, you don't immediately know exactly what all the solutions may be, or even the different steps that you may need to take. You have to, there's a process you have to go through figuring things out, you know? But it's like when I was in my very positive state of mind and feeling feeling scared in a good way, it was like, oh, this is like an adventure. Like a good adventure. It's like I'm going to discover, I'm like on this journey of discovery and learning and growth. And I'll discover what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's like an exciting adventure. But when you begin to give into the fear, and the fear begins to become more of the dominant experience, and the doubt begins to creep in, then it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's not a good thing. It makes you feel more scared, makes you feel more doubtful, right? So again, it's like you can so easily get caught up in this kind of negative spiral, and each negative thought reinforces each negative feeling, which reinforces each negative thought, which then reinforces each negative belief, and all the way around again. And then it all impacts your actions, right? So before I even realized what was going on, because I was just so busy enjoying myself, I developed this blind spot around what I was doing and how it was impacting me, or how it could impact me, that before I knew it, I got caught up in this like negative downward spiral with this way of thinking, So I'm going to, just kind of pause over here and just kind of be like, hey, look, this is like my caution. This is the lesson that I want to like really emphasize and focus on for today, is this idea that, this is why it's so important that we always are really, really careful and really, really remain conscious of the way that we are thinking and the kinds of words that we are using and the language that we are using. I had, in some ways, to be quite blunt and honest about what was going on, had become like overconfident and sort of I was starting to take for granted, almost in a way, my skill and my level of mastery with my ability to think positively and convert negative thoughts to positive thoughts, and just connect with my heart, connect with my best self. And all those kinds of things. I was like, oh, I got this. I know how to do this. I've become really good at it. And, so I just kind of took it for granted that, hey, yeah, I'm like just feeling this fear, but it's not the most dominant thing. And I'm just having fun with it, like talking about it. It gives me something fun to talk about. Just totally took it for granted that I'd be fine and that I knew what I was doing. But really, no. It's like, no. We have to... The way we think, the way we speak, it has an impact. It has an impact. So, you know what? The good news about this whole situation, guys, is that the reverse can also be true. And we can use the reverse of this situation to our advantage. So it's like, let's say you actually are feeling scared. This is why, for example, you'll see so many techniques around, when you're trying to change your behavior, or when people are trying to help you, coaches and trainers and therapists. One of the things that they might tell you to do is to come up with affirmations, like positive affirmations, and to repeat them often, right? It's like, you think your problem is that you think you're ugly, that no one loves you or whatever. So what you do is you come up with a positive affirmation, and you repeat that to yourself over and over and over again. It's like, I am loved, I am worthy, I am beautiful. And you keep repeating and you keep repeating and you keep repeating that. And of course, when you're first saying it, it's like your mind is like, oh, you liar. That's not true. But if you continue with the process and you continue to repeat, I'm beautiful, I am worthy, I am loved, and you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, before you might even quite realize it, you see, you begin to change. It begins to have an impact on the way that you're feeling and the way that you're behaving, and what you actually even believe about yourself. So here's my caution, guys. We have to, this is why it's very important that you first of all learn how to become aware, how to become conscious. Actually, just first of all, accept the fact that it's something that you need to learn, that you have to learn to become conscious of your thoughts and even what you're thinking and feeling. And then learn how to direct your thoughts and your feelings in a different direction and practice that. And do not do what I did. It's like, don't become overconfident. Don't allow yourself to become complacent with regards to, oh, I've mastered this or I've got this. Even if you have it down and you're implementing these skills effectively in one area of your life, challenge yourself and see like, hey, what other area of my life is there that I could also implement these skills and improve in those other areas, and just like continuing to push ourselves to continue to learn and continue to grow. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is end with this thought for right now, and just before I actually end, I want to give you a quick reminder that, hey, if you haven't already, please go on iTunes and leave this show, the Survivor to Thriver show, a 5-star rating to help other people find it more easily as well. And it's also just a really simple action you can take to show me your love. Really, really appreciate your doing so. So please take a minute and leave that rating on iTunes. So until I connect with you next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.